Tonight on CFTK-TV News, some good news has appeared about a Bulkley Valley District evac alert. We look at the long-term project of the EB staircase and trail, and a report gives more details on the death of a young Indigenous boy in foster care.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cale Maslin. Here's what's making news in the Northwest and beyond. In some good news regarding fires around the province of BC, an evacuation alert put out by the Regional District of Bulkley-Nechako has officially been rescinded. The alert in question was put into place because of concerns over the Pitka Creek wildfire, which led to all lands, dwellings, and properties south of Stewart Lake and west of Stewart River, in addition to places accessible by Highway 27, being targeted by the alert. But thanks to fire suppression work, the alert in question has since been lifted, and those seeking more information on such an alert can call the Regional District at 250-692-1553. Local residents can also sign up to get public alerts from the district about such environmental threats at their website. Residents of the remote northwest communities of Atlin and the Taku River Tlingit First Nation will soon be better connected to the outside world thanks to investments from the government, Northwestel Inc., and the CRTC. The $9.8 million project will enable high-speed broadband internet services in households and connect to a new cellular tower on the Taku River Tlingit First Nation land that will provide cell service for surrounding communities. Spokesperson Charmaine Thom said this will allow people in the community to access online opportunities like education and employment, as well as provide a stepping stone to the additional safety in the community. Since 2017, the BC government has invested $584 million into expanding high-speed internet and cellular services throughout the province. It's been confirmed that the Regional District of Bulkley-Nechako is going to be closing up their office on August 1st in order to conduct an annual staff training event of theirs that's about the district's legislative mandates and will include some added training for their Environmental Services Department. But not only will their office be closed, their landfills, transfer stations, and recycling are set to be closed for the day as well. These facility closures will affect communities such as Vanderhoof, Burns Lake, Telkwa, Fort Fraser, as well as Fort St. James. This is only the second time ever that such an event has been held by the Regional District, and their regular hours for all their facilities throughout the district will be resuming the next day on August 2nd. The long-term project of the AB staircase and trail construction should get underway shortly before the end of fall. CFTK's Damian Smith has an update from the city.
Well, back in April of 2022, the City of Terrace was provided a federal and provincial grant where they could provide a staircase going up or down the Pump House Trail. This staircase is supposed to connect the bench to the inner parts of town, providing a gateway of accessibility. However, a large component of the trail is quite steep, and without stairs, other than those truly adventurous, it may be quite difficult to go down very comfortably. The expectation is for the staircase to cover the areas in white, especially around those tight corners.
It took us a bit of time to get that work going, and it was shelved last year, and then we brought it back this year finally. Realized that the staircase might have been a little bit too much. We don't quite have the funding there to do the full staircase, so the decision was then made to rebuild the trail, get some natural stairs in there and get it back to the way it was and nice, but then also redo the trail from Skeena View, top of Skeena View Drive, all the way down to EB as well, which if you've ever walked that trail, it's quite a steep slope, and now what they'll do is they're going to change the grade of that trail and wind it down slower so you can get bikes and strollers down that trail.
Like the mayor said, there will also be construction on the Terrace Viewpoint Trail, which will start from the landmark and connect to the middle of the Howe Creek Trail. Though not as steep as the top of the Pump House Trail at the top specifically, it still has a very steep slope, and the expectation is the Viewpoint Trail to be more consistent.
It's quite a steep trail and not the easiest trail for anybody with any mobility issues. I think it's a bit tough to go down as is, so it'll be nice that this one the grade is redone. It'll be a longer trail, so it'll be slower moving down. And like I say, they can folks on bikes and strollers can be able to navigate that trail as well.
For much of the bench, many walkers or cyclists didn't want to use Lanphier Drive or Skeena View Drive due to the narrow roads. Though discussions have occurred on how the city can expand these drives, the focus remains on the trail's construction.
So with Landfair Hill, we're working on trying to create a new walking path there because it's so narrow, but it's, financially it's going to be a big project. So it's something that we're looking at. It's on our radar. How far we get with that, we'll see, or how soon we get, I guess you'd say we'll see.
Now, papers have been signed from both sides of the party, and it is expected that no time will be wasted to ensure that the trails are built by the time that the winter comes around.
We've awarded the contract, I believe, so construction's it's going to start right away. And they're going to start with the Skeena View Trail. We'll do that one first, and then we'll move over to the EB staircase. And so we should start to see trail closures now. And then the intent is to have both projects completed by early fall.
Now, this plan has technically spanned over a 15-year period, and it took about 13 years for the grant to be awarded and almost 15 until the construction is able to get underway. From Terrace, BC, I'm Damian Smith.
Coming up next, wildfires still present a big problem throughout the entire province. Welcome back. A wave of thunderstorms saw nearly 40,000 lightning strikes across BC recently, sparking dozens of fires, some dangerously close to communities. That's further strained firefighting resources, but it's small town BC bearing the brunt after a fire near Jasper had people running for their lives.
Flames broke out near Jasper so suddenly, tourists and locals alike were stunned to see flames licking the roadside as they escaped the town and national park.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Almost as soon as they became aware of the risk,
it was raining ash on us.
Emergency alerts ordered them to flee.
There was a big panic. Everybody's got to get out right now.
Causing gridlock on the highway as thousands hit the road at once.
The only safe direction for their evacuees was to go west along Highway 16 into British Columbia.
The tiny village of Valemont is the closest community and was inundated.
We probably had 3,000 or 4,000 people here. We have our emergency operations center activated. We have volunteers.
Many of those who continued on to Clearwater stopped wherever they could as Good Samaritans stepped up.
It's sort of organically happening around town. People sort of running into people sleeping in cars and things like that and saying, hey, do you need a hand?
But Clearwater itself saw a new fire spread up during the lunch hour, one of more than 100 sparking across the province in the wake of nearly 40,000 overnight lightning strikes. Barkerville survived the night, but we now know 20 structures were damaged by the Shetland Creek fire in the Fraser Canyon, 6 of them homes.
Some heroic work happened in the Williams Lake area to protect that community from some catastrophic losses, but it is shaping up to be, unfortunately, the difficult season that we were worried about.
With all those new fires and expanding evacuation orders,
with this rerouting, it's an additional about 8-hour drive.
Albertans are being asked to head back home to evac centers there.
British Columbians will always do everything that we can to help our neighbors in crisis. But you are correct that we are also facing some very challenging circumstances as well.
That's why the decision was made there to route people back into Alberta through the through the safest route available given the fire conditions.
With those hundreds of wildfires burning throughout the province, plenty of smoke is filling the sky, impacting air quality in most of BC. CTV's Rob Buffum with more now.
Smoke billows from an out-of-control wildfire near Souk, one of more than 300 burning across BC, impacting air quality in many parts of the province, especially the interior, north, and the border with Alberta.
The east side of the province is under a special air quality statement. There's some places that are in really high concentrations of smoke and others that are kind of wafting in and out.
Skies in Greater Victoria and the Lower Mainland relatively clear today, but experts say increasingly smoky skies could well be in the forecast for much of BC as we go deeper into fire season, causing experts to remind folks to be prepared.
What do you need to do to maybe change your outdoor recreation habits, the kinds of things you might do at different times of the day when you know the air quality is going to be at its worst?
Because with those particle-filled skies comes a range of health risks.
This includes various types of cancer, from lung cancer to brain cancer, as well as worsening symptoms of asthma and other chronic respiratory problems.
A harsh truth borne out last summer in 100 Mile, when 9-year-old Carter Vi died of an asthma attack exacerbated by wildfire smoke. His family raised funds for air purifiers for every classroom at his school and air monitors for homes in town to prevent other unexpected tragedies.
Everyone in the room was crying, and I never thought that day we would be walking out of there without him.
The challenges of wildfires for the vulnerable include practical ones. The health minister noting evacuations of long-term care homes in Williams Lake last night were complicated because most patients are so frail.
The reality is with a care home and to a degree in acute care, it requires longer to evacuate. The majority of people in long-term care live with dementia.
As British Columbians brace for the heart of wildfire season and the smoke that it brings.
More now on the death of an 11-year-old Indigenous boy in foster care. A report detailing how the system failed him pointed to a severe social worker shortage. As CTV's Ben Milger reports, BC's representative for Children and Youth now says the entire child welfare system is nearly in a crisis, putting vulnerable kids at greater risk.
The heartbreaking story of Colby shocked and angered people. Caregivers beat the 11-year-old Indigenous boy to death after months of neglect, abuse, and torture. Despite a mandate to visit kids in care every 3 months, social workers had not seen Colby in 7 months prior to his death.
The capacity within the ministry right now is not sufficient, according to the workers, for them to be able to fulfill their responsibilities, their statutory responsibilities, on a day-to-day basis.
According to BC's Child and Youth representative, the child welfare office responsible for protecting Colby was not fully staffed, had unstable local leadership, and had no backfill for a social worker on extended medical leave. A survey of staff within the Ministry of Children and Family Development conducted for this new report called No Time to Wait found 80% of social workers say they cannot properly do their jobs because caseloads are too high. 64% say they are not proud to work for the ministry. The representative says it is leading to high stress and burnout.
Where do we go from here? And obviously, if we don't have a strong workforce, then we can't deliver the kind of quality of care that all children deserve.
Compounding the problems, according to the report's author, the province no longer tracks data related to staffing shortages and workloads.
We didn't get an explanation, and it's a mystery. I think it's a question best asked of the ministry.
The minister responsible says 200 frontline staff have been hired since September. On the missing data, she says MCFD is developing a new workforce strategy.
To think not just about the number and vacancies and the complexities of this work, but how those roles exist and what their responsibility is to families.
The province says it will establish a cross-ministry working group to overhaul the child welfare system beginning this fall. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
Turning to tonight's weather, the north coast is expected to be mainly cloudy with a low at 10 degrees. The Terrace-Kitimat area should see a chance of showers as well with a low at 9 degrees. And the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District is likely to see a few showers of their own at a low of 4 degrees. On the north coast, the upcoming week will include pretty much all rain and clouds and a high bouncing between 17 to 16 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, the week for them may have a tad bit more sun appear, but will be rainy and cloudy otherwise and include a high shifting from 24 to 20 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, the next week or so will get sun at the start, but mostly clouds and rain other than that, and a high that moves from 24 to 21 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. On Highway 16, there is limited visibility, utility work, bridge maintenance, construction work, and electrical maintenance. Highway 118 has some paving operations and bridge construction, and Highway 37 has some paving operations, roadside brushing, and bridge maintenance. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. still to come is a further look into a case of a man selling poison online. Welcome back. We have more on the case of an Ontario man accused of helping people around the world die via suicide. Kenneth Law is charged with selling a poisonous substance online, and he's being investigated for the death of a 21-year-old man in Langley, among others. We'll hear from the brother of one of 4 people who died in New Zealand. CTV's John Woodward reports.
James Plunkett was a DJ and personal trainer whose businesses suffered in the COVID-19 pandemic, and so did his marriage. A New Zealand coroner's report says Plunkett ordered a package from Canada in June 2022 from a site police have confirmed is connected with Kenneth Law, a former Toronto area engineer and chef. Plunkett was one of 3 New Zealanders the coroner has said died after consuming Law's products.
The idea that he could access this not necessarily through the dark web or some corner of the internet that he had to search out, but it was there hiding in plain bloody sight. That is chilling.
Records show at least some of Law's websites were hosted on the Canadian e-commerce platform Shopify. The company has said after Law was arrested in 2023, they shut down his accounts. Police at the time said Law sent some 1,200 packages to 40 countries. Law now faces 14 charges of murder and aiding and abetting suicide. He's denied the charges. His lawyer has pointed out he was selling a legal substance. We've counted 129 deaths worldwide associated with Kenneth Law's products, including Plunkett's, and many of them happened after February 2021. That's the first time a BC family went to the police with concerns about one of Law's websites.
It's incredibly concerning.
Sarah Kennel of the Canadian Mental Health Association is calling for bigger responsibility from big tech companies.
There's a role for the federal government to be regulating that, especially when we think of the means of suicide and what we can do to keep our communities, our family members, our clients safe.
Those bad decisions become very, very easy when you've got someone making money off it.
Money, he says, shouldn't be made off a vulnerable person. John Woodward, CTV News.
BC's health minister said although the CrowdStrike global technology outage had a profound impact on staff and devices across BC, they did everything possible to limit the effects on patients. Adrian Dix said the event affected about 50,000 devices in BC hospitals. He said he knows some urgent primary care centers were delayed in taking their first patients Friday morning by about 7 minutes, which he says shows the dedication of the staff and how quickly they moved. Officials at Vancouver's airport say while their system wasn't affected by the outage, airlines had to adjust their schedules. And now we turn our attention to the stock markets. The Canadian dollar is down 13/10 cents. The price of gold is up $8.40. Oil is up 63 cents. Natural gas is down 6 cents. Aluminum is down $4.50. In Toronto, the TSX is down 174.18 points. The Venture Index is down 6.52. In New York, the Dow Jones is down 504.22, and Nasdaq is down 654.94. Still ahead, a highly anticipated MCU movie is set to premiere this weekend. Welcome back. The Marvel Universe is back with the long-awaited world premiere of Deadpool and Wolverine this weekend. And as George Panaccio reports, the film is promising epic cameos and surprises.
I don't know anything about saving worlds, but you do.
Trust me, kid, I'm no hero.
It's been 6 years since we last saw Deadpool on the big screen, 7 years for Wolverine. Now friends Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are back, together, for Disney's first R-rated Marvel movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, directed fearlessly by Sean Levy.
We keep waiting to get in trouble, but no one's telling us to stop.
No, I know.
So we're just enjoying it.
Almost done. Almost done what?
Getting my knife out of your buttocks.
I never feel more free than when I'm this character, you know? It's like everything I love about performing. It's clown work. It's like, you know, literally clown work. I mean, under a suit and a mask and all that kind of stuff. And then working with my closest friends. I thought, man, if I'm lucky enough one day, I get to make a great movie with my friends. And that dream has come true with Deadpool and Wolverine.
I'm the Wolverine.
Yes, you are. And I'm going to need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
When Hugh said yes to this project, he said yes to something else. finally wearing that famous superhero spandex.
I can't believe we didn't do it for the last 24 years. It was their idea. Immediately, this is what we're going to do, and it's perfect.
Don't just stand there, you ape. Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay.
We built the movie for audience joy, and we're pretty excited that we finally get to share that with the world.
And this one film has been years. I mean, we're really literally working on this for years.
You appear to have soiled yourself while unconscious.
I wasn't unconscious. Who are you?
Deadpool and Wolverine enters the summer box office battle this weekend. In New York, George Pinocchio for ABC News.
The federal and provincial governments are investing over $8.1 million to upgrade the village of Pemberton's water infrastructure. BC said a new water treatment plant will be built to provide efficient and reliable water treatment services. The new infrastructure will have a filtration system to increase the quality of drinking water by lowering iron and manganese levels in the source water. The province's Minister of Emergency Management says this project won't only improve the region's flood resilience, but also preserve salmon habitats and ecosystems for future generations. That's all of our news for now. From everyone at CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin. Thanks for watching.